the JBR Podcast.
Wake up and check it out.
Where the music and life connects. Let's go.
Today, I'm excited to be joined by Detroit's own Niecie, who is described by Cashbox magazine as raw and soulful in a rock and blues house. Nicie's chart-topping music and high-energy performances have earned her fans worldwide. It's great to have you on the show. How you been?
Oh, good. How about yourself?
I've been good. I know we've been trying to connect for a little bit, so I've known you for quite a few years, but tell me and tell us, how'd you get started in the music business and into blues and soul?
Well, I've always been in music somehow, some way. Whether starting out when I was younger in musical theater, then getting into in high school, I was in rock bands. And then when I moved to Chicago, I was more into R&B and soul, believe it or not, than blues. Go figure, right?
Well, I can tell by when I hear you sing.
Yes, right. So then I went out to Boston and started studying intensely at Berklee College of Music. And I went on the road with a rock band, maybe in the early 90s, mid 90s. And we were playing at a bar on campus at the University of Nebraska, in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I was kind of forlorn about whether I wanted to do this or not, because it was me and a bunch of guys, and we were getting like, just bar gigs and stuff, because, we were younger, what have you. And so it was me schlepping. I mean, we all got into one hotel room. I mean, we were bare bones. So it was kind of crazy, right? So I was kind of doubting myself as to whether I wanted to continue on. So on our break, we went out and I was just hanging out. And, around the university, you could, on the strip, you could carry your alcohol, your beers or whatever. So I'm sitting there all slumped out in the corner, trying to stay away from my bandmates because we had just had a little thing going on. And this bigger than life dude comes up to me, and it happens to be Magic Slim.
Wow.
He goes, I heard you over there. He goes, you need to come sing the blues. Come on. So we were getting ready to get back on stage, and I went up to my guys and said, you're on your own. Play some instrumentals. Do whatever you got to do. Bye. So I went, and he was at the Zoo Bar, Magic Slim. So I got up and did some cover tunes with him, and that's all she wrote. And from then on, I did the blues. Went back to my other gig and jumped on stage, but that was what really got me smitten. And in talking with him, he's like, let me take you under my wing. So like whenever he was in the same town I was, because I was doing a lot of traveling, I'd get up and perform with him. So then he said, there's a guy up in your area. And I knew who he was going to be talking about. He goes, you should really follow. He's got the same kind of blues rock thing you got going on. It was Larry McCray. So I hung out with him, Larry, and, sat in with him a lot and just kept building my chops. And then lo and behold, 2000, I started working on my debut CD, and that's where it went.
Nice.
Crazy story.
Yeah. That's an awesome story. I remember the Zoo Bar back in the 90s because I used to play there with Russell Jackson quite a bit when I toured with him. That was a pretty hopping little place.
Yeah.
So you're from Detroit now, and how long you been in Detroit?
That's where I was born and raised.
Okay.
Yeah. So now, as we're speaking, I just made it back down to Nashville. This is where I'm at for my music hub type of thing. So, up there I stay with the family and what have you, but down here I have a place in Nashville. So, but officially, if you look at my driver's license, I'm a Michigander. So I keep my residence up there. Yeah.
So you're in Nashville now, and are you got some music stuff going on there right now? Is that what brings you back down there?
Doing some songwriting, getting back in the studio, writing, singing some tracks to some music that we already had laid, working towards my next CD, which will probably come out maybe in springtime.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And I was looking at your Facebook and some of your stuff before we got on the call here, just because I know we haven't seen each other probably since Memphis about 5 years ago or so. And you won some awards recently. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I won Queen of the Hill, which was my last CD release. I won female album of the year at the International Singer Songwriters Awards. So that was cool. And then I won blues, blues R&B out at the red carpet events. What I think it's called they keep changing the name of the event, so I'm just going to say the
Yeah.
red carpet event out in the Netherlands. So
Oh,
that
wow.
year I had a lot of cool awards going on. So yeah, looking to grab me one or two more.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So what your album, is it going to be original stuff, or are you doing your take on some covers?
This one's going to be all originals.
All
I always
originals.
spot a couple, two, three covers in there. But this time I'm going just all originals. We've been having a blast songwriting. And then this one I'm kind of crossing over a little bit to rock. Kind of want to spread a little bit, follow more under Americana as opposed to just blues, because blues is an Americana as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll open up a few more doors, so not be so pigeonholed. Although I'm going to have to get rid of that handle on Facebook, Niecie Blues. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that if I want to. But
Yeah,
other
like
than that, yeah, it's going to be
Niecy
all
Niecy
original.
Music. Niecy
Yeah, there you
Music or
go.
Niecy Roots or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Like it. Oh, good idea.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So what approach do you take to songwriting? Because that's something I talk to musicians about all the time. And I love to hear how people, approach getting a song completed.
Well, it starts out many different ways. I could be driving in the car and all of a sudden something hits me, and I'll either text it real quick to myself, or I'll get on my microphone on my recorder and record a few of the lines. Sometimes I just have a title, and then with what the kind of concept it's going to be, and then I present that. I have a group of songwriters I work with down here in Nashville, and they'll take the ball and run with it to a couple lines, a verse or whatever. Then get back together and we talk about groove and whatever. It's always different. Sometimes I'll write one from beginning to end. Sometimes I'll just come up with the title, and then we all work on it. But whatever the spirit moves me, however it gets done.
Yeah, that's a common theme for musicians and myself the same way. Yeah, there's no like set pattern for it. You can get a
Right,
title, you can get a melody in your head or just a mood, whatever
right,
that would be for
right,
sure.
right.
Yeah. So in terms of you do a lot of traveling and playing a lot of places, what's probably the most what's your favorite place? I know when I ask people favorite places, they hate to say my favorite because then somebody's gonna watch and go, "What do you mean? I thought my place was the
Right,
favorite."
right, right, right.
Or like your most memorable place that
Well,
you remember.
actually, it was before I became Niecy. I was gigging with a jazz R&B group, and we did the Cancun Juice Blues Festival, Jazz and Blues Festival, and that was like in 1990. So I was young. It was just a blast. It was like paradise. Um, Great crowds, great weather. Just had a really, really great time with
Wow.
that
Yeah,
one.
that's amazing. And another question I like to ask everybody is, you know, you've seen the music industry evolve and you've seen it on like a national, international level as well. What what would you say? Like we all know that back in the '90s, things were like way better for musicians. The pay is like the same now as it was in the
Yeah.
'70s, essentially, right? So, how have you seen the music industry evolve for the better and for the worse?
Well, for the better, now that a lot of things are done online, you know, um, with radio play and submitting music and so on and so forth. It's leveled the playing field a little bit more for the independent artist. So you don't have to belong to a label, that whole gamut. And you have a chance, right?
Yeah.
Although the labels still dominate, right? And what happens though is when it's such a level playing field with the independent artists, you get, and this isn't to invalidate, but you have um, garage bands, let's just say, or basement bands that are putting themselves out there the same way you are. So it's a super flooded market for independence. You got to stand out. You got to have a gimmick. You got to have something, right? Now, so that's a good thing. The bad thing is, and I think we all can agree, is the streaming and how we get paid $0 for our music, right? And it's just such a shame. We put so much into our music, and it just, I don't know what has to be done if the government needs to get involved, but we're getting ripped off.
Yeah.
I don't focus a lot on Spotify because it doesn't pay that much. And in my genre, you're not going to get really discovered on Spotify like some of the hip hop or the rap or whatever, or TikTok even. So then, and what else is cool is all the different platforms, even though some of them are becoming our evil side twins like Facebook, right? Well, what happened was, and when I first came back out, and I'll explain this to you, I released my first debut CD in 2002. Like 4 or 5 days after I released it, I hit the Billboard charts. I was rocking. And I had like some major people on my CD. And I'm going to get into that story on how I got down to Nashville because you'll really get a kick out of this one. But that was 2002. Well, 5 days after, I got into a horrific accident with a semi truck, and I was out for the count for years. I was in a wheelchair, physical therapy for 6 years, the whole beeswax.
Holy
Pulled
smokes.
myself together, built myself back up. I kind of dropped out of sight just to go through what I needed to go through alone. I didn't really put it out there what happened to me or what have you. But when I resurfaced and went to go do my sophomore release in 2011, note there's a 9-year span. Facebook? What's Facebook? All of a sudden, there's all the, I had to like back off all of it just to keep my sanity and get my body back together. So it's like I had a major learning curve because Facebook came out in 2007, 2008. And here I was getting back in at 2011. People have been on it for years. So, so I had that curve on there, and it was great to help me explode, where if that didn't exist, I probably would have had a harder time getting reinvented back into the music scene. So that's a good thing. Now, on the flip side with the Facebook and stuff, it's getting a little arduous with all the t-shirt sales. I think everybody can agree with that. And how sometimes you can't even promote your own music because they give you copyright issues, and then you fight it and you fight it. But yet, if you go up to your stories, you can choose your music to go behind your thing. So why can't I post a video of my music? I don't know. It's a kind of like, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. So there's that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Dealing with YouTube for some of these videos and doing my music in the past, I can't tell you how many copyright infringement claims I've filed out and had to provide my own IPR forms that like, I wrote this song. What do you
Yeah.
mean I can't do it?
Yeah.
This is my
Yeah.
shit, right?
Yeah.
It's the
Exactly.
love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
For sure. So tell us about that story. What was it, Nashville or
Oh
whatever you
yeah.
said? You were going to get into it. I don't
Yeah.
want to. Forget about that.
Yeah, yeah. In 1999, I was going to a jam in the hood in Detroit. And there was always a set people, that always showed up, but there was this whole group of other cats. So I ended up going up on stage with them. The bass player and the drummer. It turns out they were musicians that were in town playing with the circus, and they had the night off, so they wanted to go hang out and do real music instead of boop ba ba boop ba ba.
No kidding.
So did some tunes with them, and then the drummer comes up to me and says, "You've got to come to Nashville." And I'm like, "Huh?" He goes, "I can do something with you. I want to produce you." And it's like, yeah. How many times have I heard that before? Yeah, right. So I did some research and I made the jaunt down there and down here, because I'm here now. And I'm like, okay, cool. This, I think we're gonna give it a try. Let's start out with a couple tunes, commit to a couple tunes instead of a whole CD. So I went to my first session. Oh my God. All these A-listers. This dude was hooked up. And his name is Niecie Jackson, right? I had Johnny Neal, who's now my producer, Grammy Award winning Allman Brothers from with the Grammys. I had what's his name? Willie Weeks on bass. If you're familiar with Willie Weeks, oh my God, that
Yep.
dude's played with everybody. I had Eddie Money's keyboard player. I had so one thing my father taught me was, if you are in a situation like that, like I'm a newbie, right? This is going to be my first session ever. And these cats have been playing for like 30, 40 years and Grammy Awards and all that. You shut up and you listen, right? So I sat there like a sponge and just sucked it all in, and it was just so amazing. And I've had like Billy Joel's backup singer Crystal Telefaro on my stuff. I've just had a ton of people through Niyoshi that I've met. So it worked out. He did something with me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we met. When did we meet? Did we meet in Chicago at the BBMA Awards, or did we meet
Yeah,
in
you have
Memphis?
been nominated for a Blues Blast Award. It was at Buddy Guy's.
Yeah.
And Richard, and I forget his last name, who's out on the east coast of Canada. He gave us the heads up that you were going to be there alone, and to make you feel welcome and spend time with you and introduce you around. I don't know if you know that he hit us up. Why can't I? He used to do the festival Trey Bluen something. God, what
Yeah.
was his name? I can't remember. But
I can't
anyway, so
remember
yeah,
either.
it was then. As a matter of fact, it was funny because my Google Memories, that one picture of us in the hotel room at the after party with Spike and Marky Blue and all that, where we're
Yeah.
just, it's the funniest picture. We're all like all over the place. That just showed up the other day. I'm like, oh my God, that's right. And
No,
there you were.
was that the one?
You
That's
were
right. I forgot about that. Was that the one at that you're talking, the one at the Willis Tower or whatever it was called? That
Yeah,
big, when we went up there and they had that fucking glass floor that was like
yeah.
200 stories off. I was getting the cold sweats, and me and Spike were like, I'm not going. We had to go out there for like 3 seconds to just take that picture. And I was like
Yep,
having
yep.
sweats and oh man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Well,
forgot about that.
with
That
the
was
with
crazy.
the one picture I'm talking about, it was at the hotel room. But after
Yeah.
the awards, we all went. Spike had his Bloody Mary bar and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and
I
Joe
some of
Michaels
that
was in. Yeah,
some of that was a blur. I do remember you guys taking me out for breakfast, and there was Bloody Marys, and like the meal, I say a meal because like you bring this drink. Oh, we'll have some breakfast, and this thing comes. It's got like cheeseburgers in it. Like it's like a fucking meal. Like, you guys
Yep,
just got me messed up on that one. I remember Albert Castilla was there too, doing
yep,
some
yep,
playing with all those guys. Yeah,
yep,
that
yep,
was a
yep,
that was a
yep.
wild ride for
Yeah, that
sure.
was fun. That was fun. Yep.
Yeah. And then Memphis as well, right?
Yeah, I think a year or so later, you were in Memphis. Yep, yep.
Yeah, we saw you down there. So between work life and music life and all this traveling between Nashville and Detroit and everything else you're doing, how do you keep that work balance? Because we talked earlier, the demographic of music has changed. People are having a more difficult time making a living full time with music these days as opposed to 20, 30 years ago. And there's some sort of hybrid usually where you kind of, like myself, I have businesses and work with businesses and stuff in terms of marketing and online, which are primarily paying the bills because we do this because we want to, not because we have to in many cases. So how do you balance that work
It,
aspect to the music aspect?
uh, it can be tough sometimes because big income hustle is I'm a computer consultant. But the beautiful thing about it is I'm self-employed, right? So, and I have been for 41 years. I've never worked for anybody, and I never will. I never will.
Beautiful.
And I can pick and choose when I want to work. But when I'm on a contract, I work like a workhorse. So I try to, I get on contracts that could be like 3 months, 6 months, a year and a half, whatever. I'm at the point now I can kind of pick and choose. And when God's good. Whenever I'm in need, when I'm trailing down, like in the wintertime, I'm not one to be on the road in the winter doing music. I'm too old for all it. Now in the southern states I'll do it, but I'm not hoofing it in the wintertime in the snow and stuff. It just,
Yeah.
I did that. I did that when I was in my 20s. I'm in my 60s now. I don't need to do that. So, and so what I'll do is I'll build my bank to do my CDs and so on, and my marketing and put towards my music career. And then I'll do just music for however long I can do it. Right.
Yep.
But I don't when I'm doing a computer gig, I don't let all my music fall to the wayside. I'm like, busting from morning till night. I'll do my 8-10 hours with the client, and then I'm working on my music and promo and all that in the evenings and weekend. So it's like nonstop. And
Yeah.
what I've learned is sometimes you've got to stop because you can get really burnt out. So I've learned to pace myself a little bit more. Like, I just released a single about 3 weeks ago, and I just finished a computer contract, and now that it's out there working, I'm picking up another part-time one in the meanwhile. It's always a balance. It's a juggling act all the time, definitely all the time. And then what I do too is, I also do radio play for people, um, you know, marketing, promo, other facets in the music industry, besides being Niecie. So that contributes to the piggy bank.
Yeah,
Right?
for sure.
So yeah, just you got to be nonstop,
So
nonstop.
what's next for you? You said you're down there doing some songwriting and putting an album together, and so what's the near future bringing?
Near future, uh, well, is the songwriting and then getting the tracks together for like the demo for the guys to get into the studio. So that's the main thing right now. In the very near future is I'm going to be laying the vocals for tracks we've already done. I was going to be releasing a whole CD, but I decided here's the part where I said you gotta take time to breathe. I'm slowing my roll. I've released one single off of it last year, and then I kind of just and I really let that one ride. That worked for me. It's like, a lot of people do what's called the waterfall release, where you do one single, do another one, and then, that piggybacks and you do another one, like one a month or what have you, and then the CD. Well, when you got a single out there and it's just rocking it, me personally, because money wise, I let it ride. I don't stop back on it with another single. So I just released another single. I was gonna do another one before the release, but I'm kind of thinking not, because in actuality, you spend as much money on one single as you do on doing the whole thing as far as promo, radio, and all that. The only thing that doesn't cost you is getting them printed up, of course, because singles are all digital, and then the mailing out to the DJs. So it's like, wow, do I really want to keep blowing my wad on singles leading up to it? So I've got two bangers out there now, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
So you said digital on the singles. This is curious because I haven't released an album in a while, and I've been thinking about it, and I look at them like business cards and kind of just want to do one for the sake of doing one. But so if you're doing a full album, are you pressing a medium? Like they don't even make cars with CD players anymore. So
Well,
what are you
here's where the
making?
blues genre comes in. Blues fans love their CDs. They love the hard copy. But the thing is, you're not really getting a lot of sales online or what have you. You're selling them at your shows and at the festival. So if you're not touring, a whole bunch, then, you know, but now the point you're making is you're true. A lot of them don't even have CD players in them. So my next thing is I
Yeah.
think I'm going to do USB and actually put my entire discography on it and sell it like that. Because cars still have USBs, right? I hope that doesn't go away. Who knows?
You gotta get
Um,
hooked up with Sirius XM or something.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's the goal, man. Getting on Sirius XM. I've been pushing
Yeah.
on that since the beginning of my career. I don't know what it is. If I just don't know the right people, but I haven't gotten on there yet. That pays so well, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, when I did my albums, I had publicists and, I had my rotation on there, but it seems like, if you're not front and center relevant and pumping something out every 18 or 24 months, then you're falling off the wayside, right? And they
Yeah,
take the album, they put it out there, and then, it just, like you say, it peters off, and ride it while it's high. And then, maybe have something in the can that's ready for when you start to see it trickle down,
yeah,
just stomp with something new, right? But that's
right,
so much money. I don't think people understand how much money it takes, and time. Like time alone, okay, time's one thing, time is money, but money's money too, right? And spending 10,000, 20 grand, like you could go to town on the amount of money you spend on something. And a lot of times it's just ends up being like a business card, unless it's going to get you those live shows and you can make some back at live shows. Like, how do you ever
right,
recoup that loss? So even the greatest artists are like limited on what they're going to pump out.
right. It's true. Unless you're like a huge star, you're correct. You're
Yeah.
absolutely correct.
Yeah. It's
Um,
crazy.
so yeah, I don't know what the answer to it was because I'm
Oh,
still
come
trying
on.
to
I
think.
wanted you to give me the answers here. That's why we had you on. The answers. It's my you know, selfishness here. Tell me what I need to do. Come on.
As soon as I figure out, I'll share it with the world.
Yeah, perfect. That's great. But
Well,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go
Well,
ahead.
one
You were going
thing
to say
I'm
something.
doing too, as far as the money aspect of music, when I'm writing now, I'm writing with sync opportunities in my head, not just any old tune. Because I came up with this cool lyric, and I dig the groove. I'm really focusing on film, TV, to get that stuff out there because that pays. So um, that's one thing I'm really working on. And then talking about in the immediate future, you asked, I'm trying to come up with a different way besides like Facebook and the social media to have my world with my fans. So I've been working with a community out of LA and Las Vegas called Goal Getters. And there's, we're coming up with a software for membership programs and stuff like that. Because I eventually, Facebook's all good, but I want to get off it. It's too much. It's too much negativity, especially with the
Yeah.
politics going on. And it could be, Niecy's world. You know what I mean? And you're not competing with anybody else in
Yeah.
your own membership. So I'm trying to come up with different ways, and me being in computers, I kind of have an edge in trying to figure it out. Of course, we're bringing in a little bit of AI. You got to learn the AI.
Yeah.
So that's also on my plate. Got a lot
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah. No, we should actually talk offline because my work is marketing. I do web applications, phone applications. I'm actually working on something. The last few years I tried on an app, but now I'm switching to a web application. It's called Live Music Finder. So it's
I know
basically
I've
just like,
got it. I'm
yeah,
on it.
like a centralized database, which I'm trying to optimize. But again, it's like time between music, between family, between, working in marketing and like
Yep.
a day gig, essentially speaking. It makes it tough. But you're right. Facebook is, it started off and everybody was pissed off at seeing what other people were having for lunch. And then they were mad that all they saw was cute cat pictures, and then now it's just like politics has completely taken over and driven such a wedge between everything, and,
And
and that's on all
yep,
platforms nowadays, right? It's
yep,
just, it's so
yep.
toxic.
And people are getting mean.
Oh yeah.
Just getting really mean. And then with Facebook too. I mean, on the good side of it, I was able to connect with family I hadn't, connected with in decades. That's all beautiful. But I'm on information overload. I know when somebody's brushed their teeth, they post about it. Then they'll have 50
Yeah.
reactions. Oh, what kind of toothpaste? And it's like, oh my God, I don't care what kind, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean, there's
no.
a lot of that. There's a
Fuck
lot of
yeah.
it. People feel the need to do everything they do in the course of the day. You know what I mean? And it's just so much information overload,
it
you
it
know?
it really is. That's, I think, the problem is we've all got like ADHD now because we just oh, look, something shiny over here. Like there's just so much.
Right?
you know yeah, no, it's fuck yeah, we could talk for forever on that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
before we go out, like how do people get your music, those that are watching? Go to your website.
Yep.
How,
www.niecie.net. That's NIECIE.net. I'm on Facebook, like we've talked about, Instagram, TikTok. I'm everywhere. All the sites, Apple Music. I'm on Pandora. Um, everywhere that I could possibly be as an
that's great.
independent. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll get some of your socials and stuff in the descriptions for these
Okay.
videos so people
Cool.
can have easy access to it. And is there anything else before we go that you want to let people know? Do you have any crazy wild stories that like a road story that would
I
be
can
like
tell you about the meatball gig.
something that you wanted to take to your grave but you feel like sharing here?
Oh,
Oh, now that I see the wheels turning.
yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's one gig that, let's just say I got the nickname Niecy the Nudie. And we'll just leave it
Oh,
there.
okay. No, come on. No, you can't leave it there. No, I'm the one with the stop button here.
Oh
what,
God, it
what
was
how did
crazy.
that well, you gotta at least share something. Otherwise
Yeah,
everyone's
yeah.
gonna be like,
Okay, so it was a beach gig, right? I think it was out in New Jersey. It's in the mid '90s, and they had us out on this raft, and it was, it's like it was weird, right? So, um, I like to move around the stage, if you want to call that a stage, and I guess I got a little bit too close, and I slipped in, and when I came up, my shirt was off. So there's Niecy the nudie. A big wave came and my shirt went, and it could not be found anywhere. The waves took it away. So, yeah.
Now, could you imagine if that happened today and not in the 90s?
Oh my Lord. I don't know. I don't know. Things have changed. People are more woke. I don't know what would
Yeah,
happen.
you would have gone viral. Like everyone would have known you.
Hey, maybe I better reenact it. I should
Reenact
reenact
it.
it.
Yeah, there you go. Right. So I say I probably never got hired for anything if there was Facebook when I was a teenager.
All right.
All the dumb shit we did.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So yeah, that's a good story. I like that one. So anything to close off with here? Anything you
Um.
want people to know?
Yeah. I'm getting to get ready to get back out on the road. Let me know where you want to see me. Want to come to a town near you. I want to come up to Canada.
Yeah, we
Um.
should get you up here.
Yeah. Yeah. I had signed with a booking agent actually out of Quebec called Concert First. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, John Walker.
No.
But he has recently become ill with cancer. So we started getting some things done, and now I've had to go back out on my own again. So, and he was telling me how cool it is to tour up in Canada because like here to go, take a flight to go anywhere is like $500-600, right? And you can get into Canada and go all over the place kind of cheap from what he's saying. Decent, and just a lot of gigs. There's a lot of territory up there. I've yet to explore. I got to come out your way. I've always wanted to do Vancouver.
Yeah, we should talk and try and make that happen. I don't know if you got any contacts I used to deal with the Washington Blues Society, so maybe there's opportunities Seattle, Everett, Bellingham,
Yeah,
and then maybe
yeah,
we can
yeah.
sneak you up here. I know I could probably line up a few things that would feature you up here, but
Okay.
yeah, we'll talk. So any of those people that I know in my local region that are interested, definitely hit me up because maybe we'll make it happen.
Yeah, awesome. That'd be cool.
Awesome.
Very
Yeah, and
cool.
I appreciate you taking the time to be on here. I know we had a few scheduling issues over the last couple of weeks, but we finally did it.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
finally did
awesome.
it, and
Thanks so much
it's
for having me. It's so
yeah,
good
no
to see
problem.
you.
Yeah, it's
So
good
good
to
to
see
see
you. It's
you.
good to talk to you beyond text messages and
Yeah,
Facebook messages. But yeah, I
awesome.
appreciate you being on the show, and we'll
I
talk soon.
appreciate being here. Thank you so much.
Okay, you have
Uh,
a good one. Okay,
Peace.
bye.